Hello everyone, welcome back to my Dragon Quest VI 100% walkthrough. A video of Revelation and the End of Dreams. Joining me for that is Skyzo. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you, Chub?
Now, the last place that we are going to visit, and actually the first place I recommend visiting if all you're doing is trying to get as strong as possible, as fast as possible, is Weaver's Peak, our hometown, but not quite as it was in the dream world.
Okay, sounds interesting. So, what are we going to be doing this episode?
What are we going to be doing? Well, let's just say today is going to be an episode of Revelation. We are going to a new realm, and there will be revelation in this realm.
Okay, sounds vague, but I like it.
Also, fair warning, at about the 18-minute mark, this is gonna be like nothing but cutscene. Like, this is about the point in the game where it finally remembers that it had a plot, so... yeah.
Okay, so... will there be any battles or like anything like that? Anything interesting? Other than cutscenes?
Oh, absolutely. It's just all gonna happen before the 18-minute mark.
Okay.
Also, speaking of battles, I am getting really lucky here. Have you noticed how I haven't had to use a single dissolve?
Not really. Usually you edit the random encounters out, right?
Well, yeah, but I do it via dissolves, like you saw last episode.
Right. So, yeah, I can see that. You're getting pretty lucky. That's not too out of the ordinary.
Also, do you see that guy that looks just like us?
Yeah, I have. And if I remember correctly, we saw him last episode, right?
Did we? I don't... Oh, yes. That was in Sorceria. It was someone else pretending to be us. This case, however, is a little different.
There's no connection at all?
Nope.
Huh.
So, that guy that he was talking to, he was one of our friends in the dream world. Buddy. We had our sister Tanya, who we lived with. Well, adopted sister, basically, or she adopted us. And then Buddy, he was just someone who was our best friend. In this case, however, Buddy is not so welcoming. He sees us as an unwelcome intruder taking advantage of Tanya's kindness. Also, it turns out we have amnesia.
We do?
Or rather, that other blue-haired guy did.
Who even is he?
Just a minute, Skyzo. I don't want to reveal it before it's time, but, it's the resolution of a long plot thread.
Okay.
And here he is in the flesh.
There he is.
Rex is two people!
That's some great dialogue.
And it turns out this Rex talks.
Okay. Time for the suspenseful lightning.
So, Skyzo, do you remember when we visited Murdaw's castle and Carver saw a stone statue of himself?
That was way back, wasn't it?
Yes. It was when we fought Murdaugh for the final time.
Well, yeah, I think I do. Why?
So what Murdaugh did in that very first episode, episode 1, before you were there, was he caught us all in a spell and separated our dream world selves from our real world selves. And, I'm sorry.
What was that?
Sneezing.
Your mic just got, just fucking exploded.
Okay, so anyways. What Carver saw was a lifeless lump of stone. However, Rex has been separated from his real body for so long that his statue actually became real. Or it might have had something to do with the weird trick that Murdaugh tried again in episode 8. In any case, there are 2 Rexes now, and this Rex has wandered into real-world Weaver's Peak, got his own set of memories and personalities. He doesn't want to leave Tanya because he's afraid he'll lose his own unique identity.
Did they both just jump off a cliff?
Yeah, they edited this a bit in the remakes.
What the hell happened?
The village is under attack, and Rex is still a hero, so he's gonna try and stop it. And before we help him, we want Ashlyn to get into a vocationless class to boost up her MP. We're actually going to be using Magic Burst this episode, as this is the one specific time it's ever useful, outside of a few nooks and crannies here and there. We're also going to get the Metal King Helm for Carver, because it's the best helmet in the game in defense and helps reduce status ailments.
And that's on top of the armor that he has, isn't it?
Yup.
So now he's even more ridiculous.
Essentially.
Well, he's so strong now. I mean, he could probably take on most fights himself.
I wonder if he could. It certainly wouldn't be as fast as it was with Krakos, but...
I think it would just be slow, since he's so strong. I don't think there's a challenge.
No,
well, at least not until a little bit in the future, right? Because I assume the game will be getting harder.
Yeah, the Act 2 final boss could defeat him if he's unassisted. Anyway, some more item feng shui here. I'll tell you how I set up my party in the description. But for now, we've got about 7 to 8 mini-boss fights to do. Because it turns out these monsters have also found the real Rex. And they don't want us rejoining, because then we'll be a lot stronger.
I'll just say this, the lighting on the village is pretty cool, actually. I really like it.
What about the lighting on this?
Wow, that was really powerful.
So basically, this is Medante, or Magic Burst, that we got last episode. It's exclusive to Ashlyn unless you get someone else in a really advanced vocation that you're not going to get until post-game. What it does is it takes every point of MP you have, multiplies it by 3, and that's how much damage it does to the enemy. However, you use up all your MP. And what we just did there, by talking to that priest, he automatically restores your HP and MP to full. So in this one specific time, we get to spam it in a way that we usually would never be able to.
Wait, is the enemy on the left just wearing a diaper? Look at that. Looks like it.
I really don't know.
Well, you see in the footage.
Yeah. Yeah, I could kind of see it already as you mentioned it. It's just he dropped dead before I could look further.
So, is the... I guess it's kind of like Hyper Beam, isn't it? The move that we get to spam.
Oh yeah.
And these are supposed to be mini-bosses, right? All of them.
Essentially, they're technically regular encounters, but they're like end-game encounters. Not what you'd be fighting typically for this point.
Well, would you consider them mini-bosses?
I would. They're sufficiently stronger enough.
I'll tell you what, they don't live up to that name.
What name?
They don't live up to that name of mini-boss, the title.
Well, I have Medante. I mean, I think these guys can actually dish out a fair amount of damage. So it's kind of like like, see right there. See what he did there?
Well, I do, but I guess like you said, the move that we learned kind of trivializes these fights.
Yeah. And of course, Ashlyn isn't that fast, so what we want to do in the meantime is we want Amos to have the Meteorite Bracer, and we want him trying to use Leg Sweep on the guys that it will work on. Like the Zushios, so he doesn't spam that multi-slice attack.
Okay. So, with the... what do you call it again? The new move that we have?
You can call it Medante, or you can call it Magic Burst, depending on the translation. This is actually one of the rare cases where I prefer the Super Nintendo name. Medante!
Is that like the... is this the best move in the game? Kind of like Psychic in Pokemon?
Well, aside from draining your MP...
So, kinda.
Yeah. Like, remember, I'm editing out most of the priest trips so that this... Well, look at the video. It's already 29 minutes.
It's fair enough. And I'm assuming there's not very many mini-bosses to go through.
I think these are the last two.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned earlier, if you're, say, following the text walkthrough that I post in these videos, you'll want to do this first, as you get a powerful spell called Zap for Rex, and it just does, like, I think 70 to 80 zap damage to all enemies. Like, just straight up. You don't have to select a group or anything. There's no diminishing damage. It's just really good, and it's really cheap. So, just for pure power gaming, if you're actually fighting the random encounters, you would want to go through here first. Even if that meant a little difficulty on these guys. We saved it last because we're not doing power gaming style, we're doing speedrun style. Where we have Medante.
Okay.
And now, to demonstrate something hilarious. The best thing to do when going through one of the game's most dramatic moments. So, here is our clone. He is fighting a really strong guy. One of the scariest monster designs I think the series has ever produced, actually. And he just can't beat him. So what he needs to do is fuse with us. He's also giving some backstory here. The reason he wanted to defeat Murdaugh was His parents were still locked in eternal slumber at the time. And it's okay if you don't understand a lot of this, but anyways. He got beaten by Murdaugh, and we got split into two. We are finally one once again.
Okay, well, what does that mean? Do you have a double attack?
It means we have all our memories back. It means that the plot line ever since Part 9 has been resolved. And it means we have the zap spell now. Now let's beat this guy up!
Okay, well, I don't see the creepy factor on this design, but...
Maybe it was more the thumbnail that I used, because he looked really intimidating there.
That's true. I mean, I guess if you actually fought this thing, you would be
Oh no! I've been beaten! What shall we do?
What is going on here? Did he revive you? Your copy?
Okay, so what happened was we got beaten up, and then our other self was like, "Come on, what's the matter with you? Don't give up. You have to beat him." And so we got back up. Basically, this is just so you don't lose in one of the game's most dramatic moments.
Yeah, the fight is impossible to lose, right?
We'll see. But this guy's tough. Maybe if we punched him. Punch him in the face. Arrgh!
It does a lot of damage, actually.
Oh no. What are we gonna do, Skyzo?
I don't know, it looks like...
Maybe if we ran.
Well, wouldn't he just chase you?
I suppose. Oh no.
So do you have to beat him before he can beat you? Is that how this works?
That's how it normally works. Now, maybe if we increase our defense. Actually, no, he has spells. Darn it! What am I gonna do?
I don't know. Sounds like you're about to get some plot armor moment.
Man, you just knock out these plot points like they're yesterday.
Okay, so... Does his HP reset when you black out? I don't get it.
It does until this moment. Do you see his MP is lacking?
Yeah.
So what happens is that if he kills you often enough, the game will actually replace him with a much weaker version of himself. Something that goes down to 2 zaps. Will try to cast spells it doesn't have MP for. It'll only attack like once instead of like twice. It just makes, and even on the off chance you lose even to that, that form will retain all the damage you do to it. So if you die like 5 times, the game will be like, okay, you need some help. Let's dumb this guy down.
That is... strange.
It's certainly hilarious though, don't you think?
I mean, it would be more satisfying if you would actually beat him instead of him beating you.
I could have done that. It's not really that hard of a fight. So essentially what you do is the guy is just about invulnerable to almost all kinds of damage, including melee attacks, except he has 0 resistance to your zap spell. So what you do is you have Rex just spamming it like 5 times in a row, and then you have other people healing him. and he generally drop pretty quick. This time I went for more entertainment value, so I decided to just show you something most guys don't ever learn.
What this reminds me of is that in Pokemon Yellow only, and I don't think this applies to Red and Blue, is that you could actually lock yourself out of a TM, well, not a TM, an HM surf, and if you spoke to the person at the Safari Zone enough, they would let you in for free, so you could get the HM for surf and continue through the game. Apparently they just found out about this in the Yellow version, and most people, like a majority of people, don't know this, because it's so obscure.
Huh. That is interesting. That's yet another thing I'll have to check out when I play it again. Also, here comes the cutscenes.
Okay. Should I comment, or is it okay for you? Like, should I be quiet?
No, it's like 8 minutes. We'll have to do some commentary.
Well, I'd just like to explain that in Pokemon Yellow, you could run out of money and not have any way to get any more money. And because of that, because the Safari Zone requires you to have at least 500 Pokédollars, you could not get inside of it, and so you'd be soft-locked and lose all your progress. So that's why they addressed it in Yellow.
That reminds me, what do you think of the fact that only trainers can give you money?
Well, that's not true, because there is one move that can give you money, and that's Payday. But most people forget about it. Although you can still get soft-locked if you don't have a Meowth with you, if you don't have any... It's a specific condition that you gotta meet, so you would have to try really hard to soft-lock yourself that way. But it is possible, and that's why they addressed it.
I know, but it just always seemed like an odd thing to me. Like, most RPGs, what you do is you find money. Like, you'd get a little bit of money and EXP from random encounters, but in Pokemon you just get the EXP, not the money.
Well, that's because, by the game's logic, the trainers are the ones that give you money, and so it wouldn't make too much sense for the Pokemon to drop money.
Suppose not. No, actually, you could work that in. You could say wild Pokemon sometimes steal things from people. Like, they see a shiny coin and just run off with it.
Just like a small fraction, right? So that the player can't get soft-locked that way?
Yeah. Like, about the amount you'd get from Payday, let's say.
That's smart. I'm not sure why they didn't do that.
Speaking of... Anyways, back to the plot just for a moment. What we're doing here is Rex is basically remembering everything. He is remembering his dearly departed sister, who has like 4 different names depending on how the game's feeling, because her name is randomly generated from a list of 4. One of those names is Tanya, the adopted sister that we had in Weaver's Peak. She died of an illness, and then after that, Murdoch came onto the scene and after a series of long and costly battles, cast Rex's parents into an eternal slumber. So Rex, Carver, and Millie go out and try to defeat Murdoch. This was before the very first episode of our playthrough. And along with that is some random flavor text of stuff like the evil minister, the money-grubbing minister, Captain Rusty training Rex on how to fight, as you saw there. All very good stuff.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what's going on in the story because there's so many threads, but I could say I'm catching up to what's going on. And I also like this filter that they have.
In sepia tone.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
That's what you call it, right? Sepia tone?
I think it's pronounced sepia, but yeah.
Sepia tone.
Yep.
Man, lots of typos in this translation. I didn't even notice it until going through it again.
Could you imagine, like, well, I guess it was multiple people that worked on the translation, but it just seems so. I'm pretty sure there's like more than like 10,000, like 30,000 words on this game. Like, could you imagine just doing that much work?
Yeah.
I don't fault them too much.
Yeah, I guess it's not a chance to bash the fan translation as it is a chance to bash the official translation. You know, think positive and all that. It's not that this fan translation is bad, it's that the remake translation is amazing.
That's true.
Seriously, it really is amazing.
Yeah, from the little I saw, it is much improved. Like, there's things are much easier to read as well. It's like less typos, less weird things in the text. It's a lot better.
Yeah, the only oddities is, like, they use British spellings for a lot of things. So, like, for apologize, they don't use a Z, they use an S. Or for rumor or armor, they say R-U-M-O-U-R rather than O-R.
So it's just British spelling. I don't see how that would impact it too much.
It wouldn't. But, like, if you're looking for things to, like, point out, like, some people might find it weird. Me, I'm more distracted by the increased focus on... Not really distracted, but... I guess the only thing a few people can take umbrage to is a focus on puns. Like, there are two mermaids called Ova and Unda. And, for example... And this king is named King Somnus, and the queen is named Queen Apnea, and they rule over the kingdom of Somnia.
Okay, so insomnia.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, I don't really mind puns that much. They can be charming.
Yeah, and this is the game where they figured out how to make it charming rather than too in your face, as it was with Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 9. Those were the first games to get the modern conventions.
Yeah, sometimes, like, if you, like, let's just say there's a good way to do a pun, there's a bad way.
Speaking of which, have a wonderful day, everyone, and God bless ya.
Oh, that was quick. See you, YouTube.
You always say that.